you all for this 18.0 for this the program which is being consecutively run by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. So I take immense pleasure on behalf of our management, our register and our principal. I take this privilege to make our students to invite for this program. So this program objective is coming under the Center of Excellence, which what we are carrying out with the name of skill development. In what way the students can able to identify the technical aspects of knowledge, and as well as the faculty can able to giving a platform for the students as well as the faculty. So department taking some kind of initiative to provide the platform for both faculty as well as the students. In what way we can able to enrich our knowledge, especially in these pandemic situations, in what way we can able to identify the pros and cons of our skill development, and how can we able to broadcast our information to the society, especially in this industrial 4.0 revolution. So in today we have three young minds to share their knowledge in different kinds of technological aspects to be carried out. So I invite Mr. Harish and Ms. Taruni from final year and Ms. Pooja from second year to take over the session. And this STEM program will be one of the consecutive program which we be running on every month, where we get some kind of positive input from the students, and as well as the students also giving an a good feedback that what way the students can able to update, and based on this particular skill development, in what way they can able to project their forthcoming semesters to apply on any mini projects, or applying for any funded projects, or applying for any other presentations, or to attend any conference. So this particular platform, especially the STEM, will be a good platform which providing all this kind of activities. So I congratulate all the students till now, starting from the initiate of this particular STEM program till now, they have been supporting for this particular program, and also invite all the students to make their presence and use this opportunity in future. So in today's session, we have the first candidate, Ms. Taruni, to take over the topic of edge computing.
Good evening, everyone. I am Taruni from Final Department of Computer Engineering. Today, I am going to explain about one of the emerging technologies, edge computing. First of all, we look about the cloud computing. Cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer resources. Without direct active management by the user, large clouds often have functions distributed over multiple locations. Cloud computing is used to process data that is not time-driven. Besides latency, edge computing is preferred over cloud computing. What is edge computing? Edge computing is the distributed IT architecture which moves computing resources from clouds and data centers as close as possible to the originating source. However, due to the increase of data, the centralized model has shortcomings. For this, as a solution, shortage came edge computing. The name itself has the meaning that computing takes place at the edge of the network. To do so, this technology places networked computing resources as close as possible to where data is generated. Have a look at your smartphone that what happens when you unlock it using for fingerprint or face recognition. The phone itself identifies the pattern and unlocks the phone for you. This is your smartphone as an edge device using edge computing for you. Now we look about the image. Cloud data centers are thousands of availability. Fog nodes are millions of availability. Edge devices are billions of availability. Edge computing matters because there has been an unprecedented in several areas such as Internet of Things. The number of edge devices and the data generated from the edge. Edge computing brings analytical computational resources close to the end users and therefore can increase the responsiveness and throughput of applications. More efficient edge computing or cloud computing. Edge computing offers a more efficient alternative. Data is processed and analyzed closer to the point where it is created. Because data do not transfer over a network to a cloud or data center to be processed, latency is significantly reduced. The image shows the difference between cloud, edge, and fog computing. Computing at a glance. Remote global data and computing access is available in cloud computing. Computing close to the data source is available in edge computing. Computing edge and computing benefits are available in the fog computing. Working of edge computing. Now we know edge computing allows the edge devices to process their own data without fully relying on the cloud. However, edge computing consists of a two-way computing stream. One is from devices to the cloud upstream and the other is from cloud to the devices downstream. Edge computing end devices acts as a data consumers as well as producers. They can perform computing tasks such as data storage, caching and processing as well as distribute requests and deliver services. If you go back to the previous example, if the system is a security camera, edge computing allows it to have own local vision recognition. The working principle of edge computing. The concept of edge computing is simple, easy to understand, quick response. Instead of getting data close to the data center is brought close to the data. The storage and computing resources from the data center are deployed as close as possible to where the data is generated. Early computing, personal computing, cloud computing, edge computing. Early computing applications runs on one isolated computer, but for personal computing, applications run locally either on the user device or in a data center. Cloud computing applications run in data centers and processed via the cloud. Edge computing applications run close to the user either on the user's device or on the network edge. From edge sensors to the centralized cloud. There are n number of edge sensors in this process. Sensors, data collection and organization. Edge devices, real-time data processing within devices based on application needed. Processing limitations present for edge devices. Edge infrastructure, small distributed data centers that provide a resource-dense midpoint between edge devices and the centralized cloud. Centralized cloud data centers are more from the network edge. However, they offer a much greater density of compute storage and network resources. Advantages: increased speed and reduced latency, increased security and cost savings, scalability, greater reliability. These are the few advantages of edge computing. This lets us to have a quick response time as well as many other benefits. In order to achieve the processing part at the edge, the devices should be capable enough to. Applications of edge computing. Edge application services reduces the volume of data that must be moved. Now we understand about the edge computing that provides lower latency and reduces transmission cost. Mostly edge computing is best for cost savings. Offloading for real-time applications such as facial recognition algorithms showed considerable improvements in response times as demonstrated in early research. Further research showed that using resource-rich machines called cloudlets near mobile users, which offer services typically found in cloud, providing improvements in execution time when some of the tasks are offloaded to the edge node. This is the step-by-step process of edge computing. Future scope. The future of edge computing will be absolutely open. Edge will converge with the use of data through artificial intelligence and machine learning to turn insight into actions that benefit business and their customers. Computing would be the next big thing with billions of devices and things getting connected to each other day by day. The data produced through them is also increasing. This is the demo of edge computing. This is the step-by-step process of edge computing is shown in this video. edge computing. When the data is physically located closer to the users, it would be easy to obtain the data. Whenever they need, they can take the data from the edge computing. In edge computing, devices acts as data consumers and producers. They can perform computing tasks to improve the reliability and scalability. This is the demo video of edge computing. Conclusion: edge computing has revolutionized the way innovative technology works, bringing in added speed to operations. This technology that IoT demands. This is the technology which IoT demands. As requirements and demands out of technology increase, the trend of using cloud computing along with edge computing will get pushed further. Edge computing will not replace the cloud computing because there's likely going to continue to be a need for centralized processing for some time. Instead, edge computing is a response to cloud computing, a way of covering for some of its shortcomings. Combining cloud computing and edge computing for IoT implementation spells your betterment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Taruni, for your crispy presentation about the edge computing. As you told that how the demands of the IoT is going to be taken care with the name of a cloud, actually. And I think you can better go for the next level of work, some kind of practical implementation you can do for edge computing by taking some kind of a cloud-based network to be connected with an IoT. Maybe in future you can do it that particular one, so that as a practical knowledge to be included with the name of a skill development. So that is very crucially needed, especially to the Department of CSE. So in future, try to have some kind of practical demonstration related to edge computing by taking different scenarios. So that will be better for a student as well as for the audience can able to understand very clearly in what aspects and the edge computing is going to be taken the role for the next upcoming sessions. Thank you, Ms. Taruni, for your crispy presentation. So now I call Mr. Harish to take over the session on coding. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone present here. A warm welcome to Technical Fest STEM 17.0. Let us introduce myself. I'm Harish from third year, Department of Computer Science Engineering. Today I'm here to talk about Kotlin. Kotlin is an open source programming language that combines object-oriented programming and functional features into a unique platform. And it is easy to pick up, and so we can create powerful applications immediately. Table of contents. Here we will see about what is Kotlin and how it is evolved from Java, alternative to a whole ecosystem that allows writing code for different purposes. Then its architecture and futures of Kotlin in Android app development, and what are the different futures exist between Kotlin and Java, and at last syntax and prawns of Kotlin. What is Kotlin? Kotlin is a new open source programming languages like Java, JavaScript, Python, etc. Kotlin was developed under and released by JetBrains in 2016. And Kotlin is free, has been free, and will remain free. Kotlin is an official language for Android development, and it is influenced by other popular programming languages such as Java, C#, and JavaScript. The syntax of Kotlin may not be exactly similar to Java programming languages. However, internally, Kotlin is reliant on existing Java class library to produce wonderful results for programmers. It was developed under Apache 2.0 license. Kotlin is a cross-platform, statically typed general-purpose programming language with a type interface. Kotlin is designed to interoperate fully with Java and JVM version of Kotlin standard library. And Kotlin is a very high in demand, and all major companies are moving towards Kotlin to develop their web and mobile applications. Kotlin works on different platforms like Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi, and it looks 100% compatible with Java. And it is used by many large companies like Google, Amazon, Netflix, Uber, Pinterest, Coursera, Trello, and Codo. History of Kotlin. Kotlin comes from Kotlin Island near Saint Petersburg just like Java was named after Indonesian island of India, of Java. Kotlin version 1.0 was released on February 15, 2016. This is considered to be first officially stable release. In 2017, Google announced the first-class support for Kotlin on Android. Kotlin version 1.2 was released on November 28, 2017, and version 1.3 was released on 2018, bringing coroutines for asynchronous programming. On 2018, Google announced Kotlin programming language is now its preferred languages for Android app development. And recently, Kotlin version 1.6 was released in November 2016. Architecture of Kotlin. Kotlin has its own architecture to allocate memory and produce a quality output to end user. Compile Kotlin file into bytecode which can run on JVM. That this bytecode is exactly equal to bytecode generated by the java.class file. Whenever Kotlin targets JavaScript, the Kotlin compiler converts .kt file into ES5.1 and generates compatible code for JavaScript. In this first step, the .kt file will be compiled by the JVM. The transferring of Kotlin to JavaScript happens when Kotlin targets JavaScript. When the JavaScript target is chosen, any code of Kotlin that is a part of the library that sails with the Kotlin is spilled with JavaScript. However, the Java development kit or any Java library used in is excluded. Kotlin features. Cons. It drastically reduces extra code written in other object-oriented programming languages. Null safety. The null safety features is one of the key beneficial aspects of Kotlin that every programmer will find helpful. While loading with Java programming languages, every Java developer has to deal with null pointer exception a lot of time. So Kotlin aimed to eliminate null pointer exception from the code. Interoperable. Kotlin runs on JVM, so it is totally interoperable with Java. We can easily access the Java code from Kotlin and Kotlin code from Java. Compilation time. It has higher performance and fast compilation time, tool friendly. It has excellent tooling support. Any of Java IDEs like IntelliJ IDEA, Eclipse, and Android Studio can be used for Kotlin. We can also run Kotlin program from command line. Extension function. Kotlin supports extension functions and extension properties, which means it helps to extend the functionality of classes without touching the code. SmartCast. It explicitly typecasts the immutable values and insert the value in its safecast automatically. Kotlin in Android app development. Kotlin is a modern statically typed programming language used by over 60% of professional Android developers that helps boost productivity, developers' satisfaction, and code safety. Kotlin is much simpler for beginners to try as compared to Java, and this is Kotlin Android tutorial. Can also be used as an entry point for Android app development. And it is also used as an alternative to Java for Android app development. It is more efficient languages for development of Android apps due to range of features it offers. And it is officially sponsored by Google, announced as one of the official languages to use for Android app development. Kotlin versus Java. Before introducing the difference, why we are comparing this Kotlin to Java mean in olden days the Java can be used majorly to Android app development. So we are seeing this difference between the Kotlin and Java. Kotlin allows user to create an extension function, but Java doesn't allow. Kotlin doesn't offer implicit conversion, but Java support implicit conversions. And Kotlin support both object-oriented and functional programming, but Java is limited to only object-oriented programming. Kotlin it is quite easier to deploy Kotlin code, and Java is hard to deploy Java code because Java is code sensitive. Kotlin doesn't have any wildcard types, and Java adds some available wildcards. Kotlin supports lambda expression, and Java doesn't support lambda expression. Kotlin types of system has inbuilt null safety, but Java The null pointer expression is mainly responsible for the development of Java and Android. Kotlin syntax. In package definition and import, we are using a package keyword to indicate the package, and we are using import keyword to import a package in this program. Main function. A main function can be created by using one keyword with a main keyword in Kotlin. Function. Here we have seen some example of our function, the named sum function. In this two variable we are using a and b with as integer variable data type, and it returns the both sum of the values of a plus b. Creating a class. A class can be created by using class keyword like Java. So we are using class keyword to create a class. Kotlin implementation. It is very important to know how Kotlin code works and how Java code works. First, we see how Java code runs. Java file, mydemo.java will be a Java code that will be sent to the compiler, and the compiler executes the Java file and will be converted into mydemo.class file, which is a bytecode, and it is then sent to JVM. Then will be program runs. How Kotlin code works. Here, the mydemo.kt files, which is a Kotlin code that will be sent to compiler, and it will be converted into mydemo.kt.class file, where Java class file is nothing mydemo.class. In Kotlin, mydemo.kt, which is an additional thing added to the bytecode. Pros of Kotlin. Being rather using clear, compact, and language increases team efficiency thanks to simple and intuitive syntax. More work can be done as it takes less and fewer lines to create and deploy working code. Kotlin is positioned as 100% Java interoperability programming language. It is consistent with Java and all related tools and frameworks, which makes it possible to switch to Kotlin step by step. In case your product cannot be written in Kotlin only, both languages can be comfortably used at the same time. It helps to increases the developers' productivity as they can continue to work with the tool kit they are used to. And it is more consistent and explosive than Java, which means there is less room for error. Kotlin helps the developers to create extension function, and it can have all other additional features. Kotlin offers much more clear and compact code base that makes code in production more stable and consistent. Bugs get detected at compile time. This language allows the exchange and use of information from Java in various ways. Now, demo. Here, I am using IntelliJ IDEA to run Kotlin and Java program. Here, you can see a demo project. In this I have a source folder which is named src. Below in this, I have two files. One is my Java file and my Kotlin.kt files. First, in my Kotlin file, I have created a function by using fun keyword and named as it add. In this, I am giving two arguments as a variable a and b, which is an integer data type, and returning the sum of the values of a plus b. When come to Java, we are using a public class myJava, and inside this main function with as a string arguments. In this, we are using an int variable is equal to myKotlin.add, which is nothing but the class file of myKotlin. MyKotlin.kt is nothing a class file of myKotlin file. So we are using interoperable between these two files. The myJava file can access to the Kotlin, easily use of interoperability of Kotlin. The sum variable will be used to store the sum of values by adding these two. Here I am giving the argument values a is 10 and b is 20. By printing the sum of value, this sum will be stored and printed in the Java file. Now below in this we can see the printing sum of value, which is 30. Actually the program function is presently in Kotlin file, but we can access the code in Java. Thank you.
Thank you, Arish, for your wonderful presentation. That in what way the differentiation that you showed between the Java as well as Kotlin is being admired. But that let take some kind of an mini project level work that you can take it as a demo. So that will be fine that the students can able to do a project in Kotlin that will given an opportunity. And you can also take some kind of strengthen related to the tools as a prerequisite. What are the tools that they want to run it? So let's take an add-on so that the secondary students can also able to identify, because basically they have been working with object-oriented programming in this particular semester. And maybe in fourth semester for the third years also they are having an internet programming. So that particular moment of time, they are giving an opportunity in what way the Kotlin can be able to have an interlink or integrated with a web developer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can take over the session, Ms. Pooja. Thank you.
I am Pooja from second year Department of CSE. Now let us discuss about Selenium with Python. In this session, we see about basics of Selenium, why we learn Selenium in Python, components of Selenium, and application uses, features, limitations. Basics of Selenium. Selenium is a powerful tool for controlling web browsers through programs and performing browser automation. It is a functional for all browsers, works on all major OS. Its scripts are written in various languages that Python, Java, C, etc. We will be working with Python. Selenium tutorial covers all topics such as WebDriver, web element, unit testing with Selenium. This Python Selenium tutorial covers Selenium from basics to advanced and professional uses. Python is an interpreted high-level general-purpose programming language. It designs philosophy, emphasizes code readability with it use significant indentation. Python simple, easy to learn. Syntax emphasizes readability and therefore reduces the cost of program inheritance. Python supports modules and packages which encourage program modularity and code reuse. Why we learn Selenium in Python? Open source and portable. Selenium is an open source and portable web testing framework. Combination of tool and DSL. Selenium is a combination of tools and DSL. Wherever DSL refers domain specific language in order to carry various type of tests. Easier to understand and implement. Selenium commands are categorized in terms of different classes which make it easier to understand and implement. Less burden and stress for testers. As mentioned above, the amount of time required to testing repeated test scenarios on each and every new build is reduced to zero. At most, hence the burden of tester gets reduced. Cost reduction for the business clients. The business needs to pay the tester their salary, which is saved using automation testing work. Components of Selenium. There are 4 components in Selenium, which are Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid. Now let us see one by one. What is Selenium IDE? Selenium IDE means Integrated Development Environment is the major tool in this Selenium suite. It is a complete integrated development environment for Selenium test. It is implemented as a Firefox add-on and a Chrome extension. It allows for recording, editing, and debugging of functions tests. It was previously known as Selenium Recorder. Selenium IDE was originally created by Shinya Kastani and donated to the Selenium projects in 2006. Selenium IDE was previously little maintained. Selenium IDE began being actively maintained in 2018. What is Selenium RC? Selenium Remote Control is a server which in Java that attempts commands for browser HTTP. RC makes it possible to write automated tests for web applications in any programming language, which allows for better integration of Selenium in existing unit test frameworks. To make writing text easier, Selenium projects currently provide clients from PHP, Python, Ruby, Net, Perl, and Java. The Java driver can also be used with JavaScript. An instance of Selenium RC server is needed to launch HTML text case, which means that the port should be different for each parallel run. What is Selenium WebDriver? Selenium WebDriver is a successor to Selenium RC. Selenium WebDriver accepts command sent to Silensis or via client API and sends them to a browser. This is also HTML unit browser driver, which stimulates a browser using headless browser HTML unit. Selenium WebDriver does not need a special server to execute tests. Instead, the WebDriver directly starts a browser instance and controls it. What is Selenium Grid? Selenium Grid is a server that allows test to web browser instance running on remote machines. With Selenium Grid, one server acts as a hub. Test contact the hub to obtain access to browser instance. Selenium Grid allows running tests in parallel on multiple machines and to manage different browser versions and browser configurations centrally. The ability to run tests to remote browser instances is useful to spread the loading of testing across several machines and to run tests in browser running on different platforms or operating system. The latter is particularly useful in cases where not all browsers to be used for testing can run on the same platform. Applications and uses of Selenium. Selenium WebDriver is a primary automation tool used by developers all around the world. Mastering Selenium will help your automatic your day-to-day tasks like controlling your tweets, WhatsApp, Facebook, and even just Googling without actually opening a browser in just 15 to 30 lines of Python code. Selenium WebDriver is used to automate web application testing to verify that it works as expected. It supports many browsers such as Firefox, Chrome, IE, and Safari. Features of Selenium are supports multiple operating systems: Android, iOS, Windows, Linux, Mac, Solaris. Supports multiple browsers. They are Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, Opera, Safari. Parallel text execution. It is also supports parallel text execution, which reduces time and increases the efficiency of text. A flexible language. One the test cases are prepared, they can be executed any operating system like Linux. No installation required. Selenium WebDriver does not require server installation. Test scripts interact directly with the browser. Limitations. No support for desktop application. It does not support any desktop application. Expertise. Maintenance and scalability. No support for REST and SOAP platforms. Open source forums. No reporting capability. Image texting. Testers need more time to write test cases. Supports a single browser. We cannot text mobile apps. Handling dynamic elements. Handling pop-up windows. Lacks some advanced features. Lack built-in reporting features. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja, for your crispy presentation on your Selenium with Python. The basic input for today's the speakers on that may be on edge computing or it may be on Kotlin are followed by the Selenium with Python. You are given some kind of basic idea and as well as the what kind of limitations, why, with, what. So this kind of questions and all we can get it from this particular presentation. But as a future enhancement of this particular speakers when they are going for any kind of an real-time work. So that particular moment of time, we need a complete demo. That will be a better one for the students that you can give an idea, and as well as what I just told, the presentation that whatever you are given, try to give what kind of focus that you can give it for the future, like in what way that the concept that you have been taken today, in what way we can convert it as a mini project or a project development. So, or what kind of the projects that can able to implement it using this kind of topic. So, try to concentrate on that particular aspects. So, because the skill development, it's not the topic that what not only identify the new topics and go for it, what is the pros and cons. But additional with this, you also want to carry out what is the real-time applications that is being deployed, and the topic whatever you have been taken, in what way that application is going to be taken an involvement. Especially to the real-time application. So in this aspects also you want to carry it out. So that will be the real time that when you're going for the interview or when you are going for any other development. So that is the development which is giving a broad idea in what way when any kind of a task is given for you. So that particular moment of time, you can have an idea, okay, we can give this project or we can able to do this particular task using this particular technology. So that kind of a broad idea, you will get it out. That is the development that what we called as, and that you are serving for the technological aspects as well as for the social connectivity. So try to give it that kind of aspects. So that will be good. And whenever you are taking this kind of advanced level of topics, give it additional one slides. What are the projects that has been going on in this particular topic, and in what way that we can able to take in to be adaptation to our curriculum. So try to have that co-relationship. Maybe in future we will guide them in that particular manner how to do that particular activities. So thank you, students, for this wonderful gathering and for the presentation of today. The three young minds has been given a good topic to be the latest, and as well as giving a good platform for the students. I appreciate all the three participants from final year, second year, as well as the third year, those who have taken the initiative on this STEM 17.0. So this particular program is a conservative program which identifying the young minds of the students as well as the faculty in what way they can able to enrich their knowledge in technological aspects. And this platform will be one of the platforms which is giving an opportunity for the both faculty as well as students to do this particular in the right manner by the right channel. That's why we call it as a right pinch to the right audience. So today the speakers are the right pinch, and we are the right audience that we identify the right people. So we'll consecutively meet on the next session shortly. Thank you, students. Thank you.